Are you thinking of building a home or buying a home? Is that the right financial decision? Hi, this is Stanley Ngugi, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Should you be buying a home at this time, or should you wait until later? Now, the reason I want to talk about this is because home ownership is so embedded in our being as Kenyans, as humans. It's part of who we are. It's part of the DNA to want to own your own home. But financially speaking, is it the right thing to do? So I'm going to start with a story about two people who are thinking of owning a home and how they eventually got there. And hopefully from that story, we can pick one or two lessons. So here goes. The story is about Jack and Jill. Not those ones who went up the hill, just the regular Jack and Jill, okay? So Jack and Jill are very fortunate. Each of them has about 3 million shillings in the bank account, and each of them are desiring a home, like a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom somewhere in Roy, and they're thinking, is this the right thing to do? So Jack decides to spend the 3 million to just buy the land and put up the house immediately, and he's thinking, at least it'll save me some money for rent. And after all, my parents will be very happy and my friends will be very happy when I tell them I live in my house. Everyone wants to live in my house, okay? On the other hand, Jill decides, financially speaking, what if I invested the 3 million first, and then after a certain period of time, maybe 5 years, then I'll see where this investment goes, then I'll use that money to build my house. So what do you think happens at the end? So what happens is that Jack very fortunately gets some land, builds the house, and is very happy because he now, he has his own digs and he lives in it. And 5 years later, what does he have? He has a 5-year-old house that he lives in, and it didn't make him any money, but he's very happy to say that it's his house. On the other hand, Jill made some very good investment moves with the 3 million shillings that she has, and now that 3 million has actually grown to about 7 million. And Jill actually now decides to take about 4 million shillings, buy the land and the house. Because she's able to spend a bit more money on the house from her investment, she's able to make it a bit better than Jack's. In addition to that, Jill actually has an additional 3 million shillings to invest. And it is this investment that will actually continue to grow and will build her some more rental flats, or it will make sure that the house is very well kept. Now, what do we learn from this? Number one, it's very important to take into consideration not just the social pressures or social expectations of owning a home. Why don't you try and balance it out with the financial aspect of it? Yes, all of us want to own a home, but I want to say this categorically, and I know some of you will throw stones at me. I don't care, it's your screen. I want you to think about, do I even need to buy a house? Is renting an option? Is it a good financial option? Think about it. The other thing I want us to think about is, what if we have this thing called delayed gratification? Must you own the home now? What if you took the money that you've already been saving up and invested it like Jill did, and then buy an even bigger and better house in a couple of years? That may be a better financial way to go, and it actually gives you a lot more financial leeway. The thing that you will have to contend with is, I'll give you a straight example from my own community. A man is not considered a man until they actually own a house. So, am I a man? I think so. Am I a renter? Yes. But from an investment perspective, that's continuing to grow, and so are my investments. Finally, the last thing I want to speak about is on the cultural importance. And I know we're talking about finance, but what does culture actually have to do with it? The thing is, home ownership comes from a very cultural perspective, but research has shown that most Kenyans who own land actually own from their ancestral, they own ancestral land, which means they're actually not spending money buying land to build on. So have that perspective in mind as well. This is a cultural or traditional thing that we are carrying over, but we are not taking into consideration the modern day perspective of investing that we need to do. So that's one thing I want you to think about when it comes to home ownership. Really balance it out with your finances, and more importantly, with your ability to invest. As always, if you like this video, click like, subscribe, share with your pals, and I'll see you next time.